Hey YouTube, Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Krysrain deck profile for post Dragonsoul Resonance. Wanted to update the deck with the new support we got from the 10th booster set for the Faded One of Ever Changing. This will also be the final update for this deck before set 11, which that set will be getting a brand new version of Krysrain, a more consistent one for sure, being able to control the bounces we have with the card. So the last one for the Faded One of Ever Changing Krysrain for the support we have for it. But yeah, definitely look forward to the newer version we'll be getting with the next booster set. But until then, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. We'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck. For starters, we have the Energy Generator with our grade 0 being Wonder, Lavender, or Soul. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Lively, Navy, Tifane. When rode upon by Confident Aqua Musette, reveal the top card of your deck, call it to rearguard if it's a grade 2 or less normal unit, put it in the hand if it is not. So just search power depending on the cards we use with both of these setup that they can provide thanks to this card. Our grade 2 being Confident Aqua Musette. When rode upon by a grade 3 with Krysrain and its card name, reveal the top card of your deck, call it to rearguard if it's a grade 3 or normal less unit, and put it in the hand if it's not. So more consistency overall with the entire ride line, with our grade 3 being Faded One of Ever Changing Krysrain. So along with the copy we are running in the ride deck, we also run 3 additional copies in the main deck also. With this card, once per turn, you can counterblast 1, perform one of the following. If you have 4 more units with different card names, perform 2. If 1, and if you have 5, or to perform 2 instead of 1, if you have 4 more units, and if you have 5 or more, perform all of them instead. So additional abilities depending on the different number of units we have. So with it, the first one is we draw a card, Energy Charge 3. The second one is we choose one of our units, it gets plus 15 to end of turn. And then the third one is this unit gets critical plus 1 to end of turn. So you could just have the plus 15 pressure for your own Vanguard, the critical plus 1, and then just being able to build up your Energy Generator on top of the draw card for consistency. And with her Divine Skill, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater unit, return all rear guards to hand, choose up to 1 unit card from your hand, call it to rear guard until end of turn, increase or decrease that unit's power and critical to match this one. So if you give all the abilities off of the first ability of Krysrain to your Krysrain, then your other unit can just have that additional increase, including the critical plus, thanks to the Divine Skill. So it's just that one additional attack that you can provide to that other unit. The last of the grade 3s we run include the 1 copy of Vivid Flash Wheezemay. When it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain, counterblast 1, and this unit gets plus 15 power until end of that battle. So you can have it gain the power off of the Divine Skill from Krysrain, and then have it get an additional plus 15 off of its own skill, just for added pressure, which is even greater than the power that your Krysrain had on the field. And then for the grade 2s, 4 copies of Energetic Yellow Planel. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Krysrain and its card name, it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. Then Soul Blast 1, look at the top card of your deck and call it to rearguard or discard it. So it can give you an additional attack if you call this card off of the Divine Skill, as well, being able to call another rearguard to the front row. And if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain, it gets plus 5,000 power. So for the shield, making it a 10k interceptor if need be as that also. Other grade 2s include the 3 copies of Innocent Orange Ines for the added power when it's placed on the rearguard circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, counterblast 1 and Energy Blast 3. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card from among them with a different card name from unit cards on your Vanguard or rearguard, and call it to rearguard and shuffle the deck. And when it attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, if you have 4 more units with different names, it gets plus 10,000. Another ideal card to call off of the Divine Skill, because then if you have the resources, it can just be used to call another card to the rearguard to be able to attack again with. And then additional grade 1s include the 2 copies of Morning Practice and the Calm Sea Tolmano. We're going with the lower numbers just so we can have a better chance to get different named units as well for our Vanguard's ability. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, Soul Blast 2 cards with different card names. Search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 without Sentinel. Reveal it. If you do not have a rearguard with the same card name as that, call it to rearguard and it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. And when this unit attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain, and your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 5. So just more consistency for grade 1 calling thanks to this card as well. With our other grade 2s, because we do have a good number of different units to go through, being the Loving Pink Friend set. When it's chosen by the effect of your grade 3 with Krysrain, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10 to end of turn. So being able to just give your power with this unit even more with Krysrain as well. And when it attacks, if you have 3 or more units with different card names, it gets +5 till end of turn. And if you have up to 4 more different units with card names at the end of that battle, choose up to one of your other rear guards and return to the hand. More bounce back power as well, thanks to this card, which I have 1 copy of Ringing Song Fiora. If you wanted to run any more additional copies, you can move back and forth between the friend set and Fiora, because I know friend sets are pretty pricey right now, being just a staple in other decks also. With the grade 1s, we're running 4 copies of Moderate Mint Rochelle. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name attacks, Energy Blast 3, put this unit in the soul, draw a card. If your rear guard did not stand by a card ability this turn, choose a rear guard chosen by the ability of your grade 3 Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, and this turn, and stand it. So this is if you choose another rear guard to get the plus power with Krysrain, because then once again, you can have one of your units. It doesn't have to be Krysrain, get that power. So then you can use Rochelle to have that unit restand, because once again, once you use the Divine skill, you can't use it again. So you want to be able to have some other consistency with your other rear guards to be able to give you multiple attacks during the turn also. Our new grade 1 is the Snowflake of Deep Sea Ephemer. Once per turn, when your other rear guard is returned to the hand during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Mermaid Vanguard, choose one of your units and gets +5 to end of turn. And when this unit is returned to hand from rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, put a card with a different card name from this card into the soul and draw a card, which can help to also build up soul power for some of your other cards that we run into the deck to have that soul blast power to be able to use as well. Additional grade 1s include the 2 copies of Cynical Composer Rom, just having the Energy Blast option to when your opponent would call cards without Sentinel from the hand to guard circle, they must call 3 or more with different card grades at the same time. So if your opponent would call cards without Sentinel, they have to have that guard restriction. Otherwise, you're making them use the Sentinel guard when this card boosts and you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name. And when it boosts that Vanguard, the additional guard restriction just applies from there. And then also the 2 copies of Cooling Heart Eureka for the added boosted power when you call a rear guard in the same column as this card, and being able to Soul Blast 1 and choose the boosted rear guard and return to hand for more additional bounce power, which also early game you can rely on Eureka to do as well. With our Sentinel count, we're running 4 differently named Sentinels just so we can have the different named rear guards if need be, all having the same abilities. The only difference is obviously they have different names to be able to use, which will be doing the same thing with our trigger lineup as well. But before we get to the trigger lineup, we're going over the 1 order that we run the deck, which is High Five. This card can be played from the drop and play this card with a Counterblast 1. If you have a Vanguard with Divine Skill, this card can be played without paying the cost, so you don't even have to Counterblast for it. You bind this card, draw a card, reveal a card from your hand, call the reveal card to rear guard. If there's a unit card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and discard it. If not, if you called it to rear guard and you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard to end of turn, the called unit gets, when it leaves the rear guard, choose one of your units, and it gets +5,000 to end of turn and +5,000 additionally. So being able to bestow power to another rear guard on top of just an easy, consistent call, since it's used in a Divine Skill deck, we don't have to use the Counterblast to be able to use this ability also. So very, very useful for just being able to call more and more rear guards as well, in the form of an order that can also be in the drop zone. For the trigger lineup, we're going with the 8 critical, but we're running all different named criticals as well to have the same different name consistency for the deck. The 2 draws being Baratois, and then the 1 Heath having the put into soul option for more of our soul blast power also. With our heals being, once again, all different named heals for the same premise for the Krysrain deck. With our over trigger being Idos Faro for the add back and additional critical pressure for a unit on the rear guard circle as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. We're slowly getting to the release of the Buddy Fight set as well, but wanted to update a bunch of these smaller decks that got support from the Dragonsoul Resonance Booster set until then. So until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.